On the sell side, everyone's pretty bullish on SpaceX. But in the weeks that have followed that IPO, it's been a downward trajectory.
Ed, we've seen kind of a war, if you will, with short sellers piling in. About 30% of the shares are sold short, so shorts are making a lot of money. To your point, the sell side came out very optimistic, unsurprisingly, because either their banks worked on the IPO and made it pretty hefty fees, or they want to kind of cozy up to SpaceX management and be able to tout relationships. The big question now is what has fundamentally changed about the story? After Friday's successful Starship launch, kind of a step in the right direction. The big debate, though, as you mentioned, we're seeing a lot of the steam coming off the market writ large. We're seeing the likes of SK Hynix and other big IPOs from this year trading well below their IPO price. So when you go back to SpaceX, you say, how much did that $1.77 trillion valuation at IPO make sense? And how does the company deliver from here? Especially because we will get their first earnings report in early August. In August 6th, 2 days after that, we're going to have a lot of shares potentially unlocked for sale. So investors are really clamoring for how to best position ahead of those earnings. The first time we'll hear from the management team in a formal setting, and also what happens when north of 900 million shares potentially are unlocked just 2 days afterward.
Again, we're showing the trading of SpaceX since its debut on June 12th. I would point out that in the session, basically 90 minutes into it, the stock rebounded. It's now flat, but had gone to a gain of 2%. There is volatility in this session. Let's talk a little bit more about that Starship test. You know, when the test was scrubbed or aborted at the last moment a week prior, I thought it was amazing in the moment, the sharp drop in the stock in after-hours trading. And then there was a positive reaction when they finally got it done. Is anyone tracking that? Is that core to the thesis around SpaceX for any investors?
It's absolutely core, Ed. In the big debate around the IPO and around SpaceX's merger with XAI or acquisition of XAI was, is data centers in space going to be the key pillar for the thesis? And if you talk to anyone who's invested in the stock or the sell-side analyst, it is critical. So that launch, that successful launch, was a critical step in the right direction. But it doesn't address the fundamental debate that we're having across this market over valuations, particularly around artificial intelligence, and the fact of the matter that this is still a low float stock, still has a hefty valuation on a fundamental basis, and still has that overhang of shares coming unlocked. We're going to watch the shares available for trading go from a few hundred million to north of 5 billion by the end of December.
Wow.
So there's a lot to be coming onto float, and what that ultimately means from a dynamic of an IPO and of one of the largest companies in the world.